Good evening and welcome to the Monomoy Regional School District School Committee meeting on Thursday, February 17th, 2022, beginning at 6 p.m. with a regular open session starting at approximately 6:30. This meeting will take place partially remotely pursuant to the law signed by Governor Baker on June 16th, 2021, an act extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency, which includes an extension until April 1st, 2022, of the remote meeting provisions of his March 12th, 2020 executive order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law. So I will ask for a roll call. Ms. Tolley?
Present.
Ms. Games?
Present.
Ms. Scott?
Present.
Ms. Seabrett-Long?
Present.
And I am here. Next on the agenda, I will ask for a motion for adjournment to executive session, where we will adjourn to executive session pursuant to MGL C30A, Section 21A, Paragraph 2, to discuss strategy with respect to contract negotiations with non-union personnel if any open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the district's bargaining or litigating position, and the chair so declares it. Coming out for regular open session at approximately 6:30 p.m.
So moved. Second.
And roll call vote. Ms. Tolley?
Aye.
Ms. Games?
Aye.
Ms. Scott?
Aye.
Ms. Seabrett-Long?
Aye.
And I am an aye. So we will adjourn to executive session at 6:02, and we will come back at approximately 6:30 p.m. Okay, so now we are reconvening in our regular session this evening. Just a reminder to all that are joining us in person, the Monomoy Regional School District currently has a face covering policy in place, file EBCFA. Therefore, a face covering that covers the nose and mouth must be worn by all individuals in the school building. If you do not have a mask, we have some that we are happy to provide for you. If you are not willing to abide by our existing policy, we will then ask you to leave the building. Okay, so next on our agenda is the Superintendent's Award for Academic Excellence.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is one of the sort of favorite evenings I have each year as a superintendent to give out this award. And I'm glad that everybody showed up tonight to be part of this. So we've never had this big of a crowd for the Superintendent Award. So let me first talk about Nicole Peterson here, who will be the award winner. And I have a little statement that's been written by her guidance counselor to describe Nicole. And I was just actually mentioning to Nicole that I was driving down to Pennsylvania several weeks ago, and somebody had forwarded to me this little video profile that she had submitted to Harvard. And a few weeks later, my niece calls me up and she's like, "There's a college I'm applying to. I need to do a little video profile." And I said, "Hey, I've got an exemplar of what one should look like." And so I was thanking Nicole because my niece got a nice scholarship trying to model what Nicole had done. And I was really overwhelmed, Nicole, so thank you. And I think I actually shared that with the committee as well. So Nicole is amongst and this is from her guidance counselor, amongst the most intelligent, driven students who I have worked with over the 20 years in service in public education. Nicole has been laser focused and determined to become the best student and a school citizen possible. She has met and exceeded her goal, growing from an inexperienced freshman to a true leader in our school. While her ability to lead others has improved each year, her academic accomplishments have been consistent throughout. She has taken the most rigorous schedule. When compared to all of her other peers, over 4 years, she has been number one in her class since the first quarter of high school. She has a warm and welcoming nature, complementing her fierce academic drive. The adults and peers with whom she has worked marvel at her unmatched work ethic and accomplishments with earnest sincerity. Nicole has taken honors or AP coursework in every possible area. Her performance has been top-notch and diversified, culminating in her recognition as an AP scholar after her junior year. Nicole has received the highest cumulative grade in every AP class she has taken. She is the vice president of our STEMist club and plans to major in neuroscience, and there's no doubt that she will advance to the highest levels of learning in this discipline. She always seems to get the most difficult concepts a step more quickly than most, even within the honors and AP environment. She's earned high honors on her report cards steadily since 9th grade. Our faculty honored Nicole at the Junior Awards Ceremony last year with the Harvard College Alumni Association Award for Academic Achievement and for the benefit of the community. There truly are no weaknesses in Nicole's academic profile, and her area of strengths are as advanced as any I've ever seen. Besides reading and studying, most of Nicole's remaining time has been split between athletics, student leadership, and global citizenship. Nicole serves as the service learning coordinator for the National Honor Society and has helped revive our peer tutoring program, which assists middle school and high school students, and was widely popular before the pandemic. While many of Nicole's most admirable characteristics blossomed because of lifelong commitment to figure skating, including perseverance, resilience, and diligence. She has passed these qualities on by volunteering countless hours working with younger skaters. Nicole is also a very talented violinist, which helps her balance the stress and fast-paced path she has chosen to follow. It has been a real privilege to know Nicole and her family. She is a twin. Her sister Victoria happens to be ranked number 2 in the class. Nicole credits her family and faith as driving forces behind her academic and life success. They've helped her foster her independence, but have also been there as supportive and encouraging constant. She's a young woman with tremendous character, which only adds to her impressive intellectual credentials. So, Nicole, I will present you the Certificate of Academic Excellence. Nicole, you're welcome to say anything if you'd like.
Oh, well, I just wanted to say thank you very much. I'm very honored. It means a lot to me, and I can't believe that I was the one. So thank you very much. I'm very appreciative and very honored, so thank you, everyone.
Congratulations. Congratulations, Nicole. Good luck next year. And to you, too. Number 2. Okay, so moving on, we have the MRHS student representative, and Charlotte Blute, I see off to the side. Welcome, Charlotte.
Good evening, Monomoy School Committee, and thank you for having me. This past month at Monomoy High School has seen many new fundraisers, events, and activities to spread school spirit and connect with the community. Mr. Schwartzman's mindfulness class was featured in an article written in the Cape Cod Chronicle. The article discussed the class and provided Monomoy students' perspectives on it. The January Scholar Athletes of the Month were junior girls basketball captain Melissa Velasquez and freshman Casey Hughes on the Monarchs hockey team. For their final assessment, students from the Intro to Acting class performed monologues for their classmates. The Diversity Club at Monomoy High School created a display for Chinese New Year in the hallway. Ms. Jones also decorated the hallway in celebration of Chinese New Year. Throughout the holiday season, the Gender Sexuality Alliance raised money for the True Colors United organization by selling socks. The True Colors United organization raises money for LGBTQ+ teens who struggle with homelessness. On February 10th, the Monomoy Youth Voices Showcase took place at the high school. Students showcased their artwork in the hallway for their peers to view. Students also presented photos, videos, poems, and writings they had done. Recently, two Monomoy juniors auditioned for the Massachusetts All-State Music Festival. Adrian Wright, who plays trombone, and Orla Delaney, who sings in select choir, successfully auditioned. On February 10th, Monomoy High School hosted therapy dogs from the Therapy Dogs International Group. 6 dogs visited the school and traveled to 16 classrooms to fill the students' hearts with joy and create an uplifting atmosphere throughout the school. The Best Buddies Club held their Parents' Night Out fundraiser on Valentine's Day, where they watched children of local families to help raise money for their upcoming trip to France. Members of the club watched the kid and held activities for them. The Sanskrit Club wrote and displayed love poems for Valentine's Day. The poems were displayed in the hallway by the main staircase and decorated with hearts. During the month of February, the Interact Club has been collecting plastic bags. The plastic bags are recycled and made into sleeping mats for those in need during the harsh winter months. These bags will be collected until February 18th to be donated. The Seal and Harwich Center is hosting a fundraiser for the Monomoy Key Club. On February 27th, the business will donate 10% of its proceeds from patrons affiliated with the club. The donations will go directly to the Monomoy Key Club. The Animal Welfare Club has been collecting items to donate to the Animal Rescue League. They have collected blankets and other items in need for these animals. Monomoy High School students have been working hard during their rehearsals for the spring musical, the 25th Annual Putnam County Spelling Bee. The shows will be held at night from Wednesday, March 16th through Saturday, March 19th, with the matinee on Saturday. The Monomoy All Sports Booster Club is holding a brick fundraiser. Members of the Monomoy community are able to purchase a brick with a name or message engraved on it. The bricks will then be placed around the concession stand outside. All bricks purchased before March 31st will be placed by the concession in time for graduation. The winter sports teams at Monomoy have been having a great season so far. The girls basketball team beat St. John Paul on their senior night. The Monomoy and Nauset Figure Skating Club placed first out of 6 teams from the Northeast in the NEICC competition. The Student Council is collecting canned food and donations for the Harwich Family Pantry during the month of February for their Stuco Cares. Overall, it was another great month at Monomoy Regional High School, filled with new activities and experiences. We are all looking forward to the great events that will be taking place this spring. It was another good month to be a shark. Thank you. Have a great night.
Thank you.
Any comments or questions just before?
Great job as always. Thank you.
Thank you, Charlotte.
Have a great night. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so moving on to approval of minutes. We have 3 sets of minutes to approve, so do I have a motion to approve the January 20th, 2022 regular business meeting minutes?
So moved. Second.
Roll call vote. Jess? Ms. Rogers?
Aye.
Mr. Russell? Sarah, you gotta unmute.
Sorry about that, aye.
Ms. Stout?
Aye.
Ms. Tolley?
Aye.
Ms. Games?
Aye.
Ms. Scott?
Aye.
Ms. Seabrat Long?
Aye.
And I am an aye. Do I have a motion to approve the February 3rd, 2022 budget public hearing meeting minutes?
So moved. Second.
Roll call vote. Ms. Rogers?
Aye.
Mr. Russell?
Aye.
Ms. Stout?
Aye.
Ms. Tolley?
Aye.
Ms. Games?
Aye.
Ms. Scott?
Aye.
Ms. Seabrat Long?
Aye.
And I am an aye. And finally, a motion to approve the February 3rd, 2022 regular business meeting minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call vote. Ms. Rogers?
Aye.
Mr. Russell?
Aye.
Ms. Stout?
Aye.
Ms. Tolley?
Aye.
Ms. Games?
Aye.
Ms. Scott?
Aye.
Ms. Seabrat Long? And I am an aye. Okay. Moving on to public comment. We welcome all your attendance, virtually or in person, and appreciate your interest in sharing your thoughts at our school committee meeting. We will conduct the public comment portion of our meeting following the Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 30A, Section 20F, which governs public participation at open meetings covering all public bodies. The school committee desires individuals to attend its meetings so that they may become better acquainted with the operations and the programs of our local public schools. In addition, the committee would like the opportunity to hear public comments. Any person wishing to speak before the committee will identify themselves by name and address and shall speak for no longer than 3 minutes or at the discretion of the chair. No person may speak more than once without permission of the chair. All persons shall speak to the full committee through the chair and shall not address individual members or administrators. Public comment is not a discussion, debate, or dialogue between individuals and the school committee. It is an individual's opportunity to express an opinion on issues within the school committee's authority. If at any point the public comment becomes disrespectful or unruly, as chair of the school committee, I will ask for a motion for adjournment. At this time, we will open public comment, and please be patient because we will alternate between in-person community members and virtual community members. Oh, and the Zoom community members that would like to speak in public comment, if you can click on your little hand raise then we will know that you would like to speak. And as you do that, we will start with in-person, and I do have the sign-in sheet, so we'll just go right down the list, and I invite Heather Brown up to the podium.
I think those are two that are in the Zoom room.
Cindy's here.
Thank you very much. Good evening. My name is Heather Brown, and I'm a school choice parent of a 7th grader at Monomoy Middle School. Over the past 2 years, our children have shouldered the burden of keeping the community and schools safe. Delaying making masks optional beyond the 28th makes about as much sense as someone saying, "I'm so glad I got my vaccines because when I caught COVID, it could have been so much worse." How does one know how much worse it could have been? Just like how do you know how many cases will be prevented by delaying it 2 weeks? The option should be left in the parents' capable hands, as all health choices, including the use of a medical device, which a mask is, have been prior to now. Thank you.
I don't see anybody, but you could ask if anybody has a comment.
Does anyone have a comment from the Zoom room at this moment?
Madam Chair, do you just want to tell them how to raise their hand if they need to? Is that, or did you already give those instructions?
I did not give those instructions. In order to raise your hand, there's 3 little... Oh. I see Cheryl Defoe with her hand raised in the Zoom room. So, Ms. Defoe, would you like to speak?
Hi, yes, thank you, Madam Chair. My name is Cheryl Defoe, and I am the Monomoy Regional High School nurse, and my home address is 99 Pottanumakit Road in Chatham. And I'm just here this evening to speak on behalf of the nurses for Monomoy. We are all collectively in favor of lifting the mask mandate. We do support Dr. Carpenter's recommendation to mask for 2 weeks post-February vacation to ensure that our COVID cases do not spike after travel. We are at a very manageable stage right now in regard to our COVID cases. Both Chatham and Harwich Boards of Health and our school physicians support this motion to hold off for 2 weeks for lifting the mask mandate. At this point, we do feel that students and staff will have the option to wear a mask at school. And per the Mass Department of Public Health, we would still encourage those who are unvaccinated or immunocompromised to wear a mask. We feel that we are at a point where we need to learn to live with COVID. We all agree that it is time to start to shift our focus to the other health needs of our students. Should our numbers start to increase, we would then revisit the mandate with the guidance from our local Board of Health, the Department of Public Health, and with DESE, and obviously with Dr. Carpenter's support. And thank you for listening, and I appreciate your time.
Cheryl, can you just repeat that beginning part when we had the clapping here? I just want to make sure everyone heard. I think it's probably your second sentence, maybe.
Well, I said that the nurses here at Monomoy collectively are in favor of lifting the mask mandate, but we do support Dr. Carpenter's recommendation to mask for the 2 weeks post-February vacation to ensure that our COVID cases do not spike.
Thank you so much. Okay.
Thank you.
Moving back into in-person, I apologize with pronunciation. Janet Ernst. Ernst.
Good evening. I really wasn't going to speak, but I did email each of you, and I'm not sure if you received it, so I'll just say it right now. I'm writing to you or talking to you in response to the recent mask mandate update, and as a parent of a 1st and 5th grader, I can say how relieved myself and my family are to have the mandate lifted after February 28th. While I do understand the masks last year and the year before, I feel strongly that my children no longer will need them. The real issue that we're facing is the mental health of our youth since this pandemic. Masks are a major issue for children mentally and physically. So many children are experiencing social disorders, which in the long run is very unhealthy. My youngest continuously has chapped chin and nose due to mask wearing. The moisture on her mask is causing this, says her doctor. My oldest has trouble breathing with her mask on during gym classes. I'm sure many children, as we all know, have this issue. I do strongly encourage to have the mask mandate lifted on February 28th for all students regardless of their vaccination status. Monomoy youth and parents, as well as teachers and staff, deserve the right of choice when it comes to wearing a face mask in schools. We have complied with all other mandates, but now it's time to allow freedom of choice and leave it for parents to choose what is best for our children. I'm just going to say a quote from a Dr. Mark McDonald, who is a psychiatrist. Physicians are mandated reporters. When we witness or suspect child abuse, we are obligated both ethically and legally to report it to social services or the police. If a child shows up for therapy or medication treatment covered with cigarette burns, a doctor cannot ignore it. Masks are no different. They do cause significant and possibly permanent damage to a child's brain, retard in speech and language development, crippling social skills, and inciting a vicious cycle of emotional dysregulation leading to major depression, self-harm, and substance abuse. We would never allow someone to do this to our children directly, so why do we condone it through the vehicle of a face mask? Thank you.
Jolene's iPhone.
I see Jolene's iPhone. If you want to turn your video on and unmute.
Hi. I am Jolene, and I have two boys at Harwich Elementary. We live here in Harwich.
Jolene,
And
Jolene, can I just
just-
interrupt? Can you just
Yeah.
let us know your address? And last name.
Oh, sorry, 1625 Orleans Road, and last name is Moresti.
Thank you.
Sure. And I just want to voice my gratitude that the mask mandate was finally lifted. And I urge you to not delay any longer the fact that the children have to wear masks. I don't believe that 2 weeks is going to make such a significant difference. The people who have wanted it to be optional for 2 years have complied as well as we can, because that was out of the school board's hands and it was required by the state, but the state itself has lifted that mandate, and I believe that it is time to absolutely relinquish control over whether or not we as parents get to choose to have our children wear masks to school. And I hope that the 28th is the day my children will go to school with no mask. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I would like to welcome Miss Cindy Gushy to the podium.
Hi, my name is Cindy Gushy, 621A, Route 28, Howardsport. I am an instructional assistant for special education at Howard Elementary School, and I'm a member of the executive board at the MREA, and I'm here tonight to speak for Laura Weatherup, who's the president and could not be here tonight. Good evening, Madam Chair and members of the school committee. The MREA would like to go on record that the large majority of the executive board is in favor of moving to a mask optional policy for all staff and students. However, given the history of surges in COVID cases following vacations, we would like to see that decision delayed until the week of March 7th. That way, there will be data from 2 weeks of pool testing following vacation, and we can be sure that the case numbers are low enough to keep everyone safe. Thank you all for your time and consideration. Laura Weatherup, President, on behalf of the MREA Executive Board. Thank you.
Thank you.
No current hands in the Zoom room. I think you could go forward with the list.
What about Kevin C. right in the middle?
That's my cursor, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay, sorry.
That's my big hand.
All right, then I invite Allie Kelly up to the mic.
Okay. Oh, she's got it.
Yeah? think so, yeah. Sift through the crowd.
Good evening. Thanks for letting me speak. I feel that waiting to lift the mask mandate past the 28th would be a mistake.
Allie, can I just interrupt you for your first and last name and address?
Sure. My name is Allie Kelly. I have 3 kids in the Monomoy system, and my address is unlisted.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. I understand that you're thinking that waiting that extra 2 weeks might provide safety, but there's no empirical data that says waiting is going to make a difference. In fact, there's no data at all on it, none. So I feel like waiting would be a mistake for these kids who have been waiting for 2 years to have it removed. They have done enough to protect everybody. It's time for us to protect them. Remove the masks as soon as possible, please. We're asking as parents. We really feel like we know them best. Thank you.
Thank you. Still nothing?
Could you recall, see if we're missing somebody?
I don't see. Is there anyone in the Zoom room that may not know how to raise their hand that would like to speak? You could just speak out. All right. Moving on. Miss Megan Dutcher.
Maybe we could go every 2 there.
Okay.
I'm just thinking.
Okay.
Is this on?
Yep.
Yeah. Bear with me, I'm not a great public speaker at all. My name is Megan Dutcher. I'm from Dennisport. Currently, I have 3 children in the Monomoy school system. We are school choice.
Megan.
418 Depot.
Thank you.
We chose Monomoy. We were excited about Monomoy, everything it has to offer, as well as everything we as a family could offer it. Now, standing in front of you, I won't lie, I don't feel as strongly as I did a year ago. Becoming a parent or a caregiver is one of the scariest and most sacred roles you'll have. Every day, from the moment that child is under your wing, you've now become a professional risk assessor. Every time you're faced with a choice, risk versus reward comes to your mind. You want to rollerblade down the giant hill? Absolutely not. They ask for a play date with a friend. Who's the friend? Go to the beach with another family. Do they know CPR? But now, 2 years into this pandemic, when we know more, and when things like depression, anxiety, and suicide are directly impacting our community and our children, it's time to do a reassessment. I'm not asking you to look at data and science. Quite frankly, you are not the experts. I'm simply asking you to change the narrative and allow us, the parents and the caregivers, to make the decisions that are best for our children. The same decisions we've been making their whole lives and will continue to do long after they're out of your school system. I debated even coming here and standing up and saying anything at all because despite being a mother of those 3 children and a member of this school community, and generally a very open-minded person, I feel for the past year my thoughts, my ideas, but most importantly my concerns have fallen on deaf ears, and I know I'm not alone in feeling this way. I believe most of your decisions have already been decided before any of you enter these rooms, start these meetings, or even ask to hear us speak. Each of you has personal opinions on this pandemic and masking, and I feel that has now affected the way you do your job. Every discussion should start focused on students. Students should be the front and center of your thinking and decision making. All decision making should be wrapped around how it will directly impact the students. Month after month, we receive updates and emails from Superintendent Scott Carpenter, some of which update us how the pandemic is affecting our schools. So I now ask, why hasn't there been a plan in place since last year for the removal of masks from schools? The District of Sandwich announced on the day of the mandate lifting that they would go to mask optional. They had a plan in place. There should have been a plan that was ready to go for Monomoy when the governor lifted the mandate. The time is now to safely unmask and return to normalcy. We all need to face the reality that COVID is here to stay. It's a virus that we will fight occasionally, just like the flu. But now we have systems in place and resources that we didn't have 2 years ago. Monomoy had the test and stay option, which will be replaced with the at-home testing, as well as continuing their pool testing. So even with anticipated spikes after school breaks, and let's be honest here, the majority of Cape Cod had COVID after Christmas break. We look at these systems, as well as the governor and local municipalities lifting the indoor mask mandate, and there's absolutely no reason for our community to keep masking in place for school children. Thank you.
Mr. Ed McManus?
I'm Ed McManus, 41 Parallel Street, and I'm, I think, going to be a little bit off topic with what most of the other speakers are talking about. I'm here, as you know, a former selectman in Harwich, and I had the pleasure of serving as co-chair of the building committee to build the new high school, and that was a very enjoyable experience, very rewarding experience. Since it's been up and open, I've had the pleasure of and enjoyment of also continuing to be involved with the high school as advisor from the Kiwanis Club of the Key Club here at high school. After they were open a year, a group of students came and asked if we would sponsor them to get a charter. For those of you that don't know much about Kiwanis, Kiwanis is an international organization of service clubs that are dedicated to doing a whole variety of service activities for youth, everything from working with the World Health Organization internationally to working with the Tufts Pediatric Trauma Unit, supporting that, and locally the Spalding Rehab Hospital in their sports rehab activities. We also concentrate on providing leadership and community service training activities for youth, both at colleges, high schools, and in middle schools. I think we all should be proud of the record the Monomoy Key Club has established in terms of providing service activities here in Harwich and Cheltenham and the Lower Cape. It's been a phenomenal group of students over the years for me to work with, and I'm very happy to continue that. And I think a special recognition should go to one of the students who is the current president of the Monomoy Key Club. Kiwanis is divided up internationally into districts, and then sub of that are divisions. Well, the Key Clubs are doing the same. And Christy Beckley, who is the president of the current president of the Monomoy Key Club, has been elected Lieutenant Governor of Division 12, which is the Cape Cod and just off Cape Cod high schools. And I think she's did a great job as the president and will do a great job as Lieutenant Governor. One of the activities that they will be doing in the beginning of April is attending, 8 of the student members will be attending a district education conference in Springfield over a weekend, and you'll be getting a field trip request at your next meeting to approve that. But it's a program that they have yearly, although not last year, where they go through and get training in leading organizations, developing and conducting community service projects, and a whole variety of things. It's very much a fun weekend. To support that, like was mentioned by the student representative, they're doing a fundraiser, which is being sponsored by the SEAL in Harwich Center, and I'll pass out a card. It's go in anytime during the day on Sunday the 27th and get anything from a latte to a full meal and a couple of beverages at dinner. 10% of what your bill comes to, less the meals tax, will be donated to the Key Club to help support providing the funds to send students to the district education conference. And in the fall, they have what they call a Key Leader weekend. just held up in New Hampshire, which we hope to be able to have the funds to send several students to then. But I think we as a community in our school district should be very proud of students and the clubs and the community activities they do.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Still no one in the Zoom room. I don't know if you want to give a call.
Anyone in the Zoom room? Anyone? Okay, we'll keep going in person. Mr. Pat Casey. Wish this would stay open.
Hello.
Hi. Hello.
Thanks for your time. My name is Pat Casey. I live at 54 Chatham Road. I have a son at Monomoy, daughter at Tech, another son who graduated from Monomoy a few years ago. Let me get right to the point and be clear. I'm here to speak on behalf of those of us who believe flimsy masks don't work and believe it's time to take them off. The U.S. is one of only 7 countries in the Western world making kids wear masks. Kids in the UK, Ireland, Netherlands, Switzerland, New Zealand, Norway, Sweden, Denmark, Germany, Poland, Finland, have been wearing masks at all. We stand here today and ask you to end the mask mandate after 2 years of putting our kids through this. Here are a few things we can agree on. We all agree that we want the best for our kids. We all want our kids to be safe and healthy, both physically and mentally. Majority of kids, day after day, wear the same flimsy masks, unfortunately. We agree that tight-fitting masks do a better job than the flimsy ones. Masks provide visible reminder that COVID is dangerous. We can agree on that. I think we can agree that masks keep the kids compliant. I think we can agree that masks work to keep the kids scared in believing that COVID is dangerous and may kill them or possibly one of their loved ones if they don't wear the mask or keep it above their nose. We all can agree that we want COVID to end. Now for some things we probably disagree on. Do masks cause more harm than good? I feel like we disagree. We're keeping the masks on. Do flimsy masks that the vast majority of kids wear work? I think it's fair to say we disagree on that one as well. Should kids be required to keep the mask on, put the mask back on the next time there's an uptick in COVID cases? I think we also disagree with that. When people say masks work, the word work has a lot of different meanings. Do flimsy masks stop the spread? I disagree. Do flimsy masks protect the vulnerable? I disagree. You have the power, and I believe the support of the majority of the parents and kids to stop mask mandate. Please end the mask mandate for everyone. Thank you.
I would like to invite Leah Mercurio up to the podium. Just state your full name and address.
Sure. Hello, my name is Leah Mercurio, 207 Church Street, Harwich, Mass. I have 3 children in the Monomoy district. I have sat by for almost 2 years and 3 school grades while my children have been masked and basically fear-ridden over a virus that is no worse to them or the majority of their friends than the flu. As a parent and an educator, I am here to say enough is enough. The data is overwhelmingly clear that masks are doing more harm than good to our youth. We have seen a massive rise in suicidal tendencies, thoughts, self-harm, and social isolation. This is not contrary to just the masks, but COVID as a whole. But masks absolutely play a large part. The school committee has followed DESE and the governor since March of 2020, following their protocol to a T. And now that new protocols are arising, they no longer agree and want to make their own protocols. In America, superintendents are not kings. Their school committee is not the court. And we, the people, are not the villagers that depend on them for survival. These power grabs that are made in the best interests of our children are not. We know our children. We know what's best for them. We see them come home every day with the complaints and the sadness. We need to advocate, and that is what we're doing now. I look around and I see all of you parents, and I am proud to be a part of this community. Our children should be proud of us and know that we are fighting for them. I urge the school committee to follow the lead of the parents here in this district and vote yes to lifting the mask mandate February 28th. Thank you.
Still seeing no hands raised in the Zoom room. I will move on to and welcome Vanessa Adams up to the podium.
Hello. My name is Vanessa Adams. I have a second grader at Chatham Elementary and an incoming kindergartner next year.
Can you?
45 Bell Road.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So I just have a brief comment. I'll allow all the other parents to provide you with the data and the facts. As of this week, both Chatham and Harwich have rescinded their town mask mandates, which includes the community center, where just last night there was a youth basketball game and there were no masks worn. Those same children had to go to school today wearing a mask, so they can run around sweating and breathing all over each other at a basketball game, but they can't be mask-free sitting at their desks. To me, there's no logic there. And I'd like for you to all really think about how foolish that is. All we ask is that you lift the mandate and allow each family to choose what is best for them. It's really as simple as that. Thank you.
I would like to welcome Danielle Infante. I'm sorry. You got it right. Oh, I did? Oh, good.
One of the few. My name is Danielle Infante. I don't have any children in this district. I'm in Eastham, 945 State Highway. I'm here to support my friends and family and continue to fight for freedom of choice. My husband and I made the choice to pull our boys from Eastham Elementary and homeschool them. It was no longer the environment for learning that it once was. Our boys are in kindergarten and second grade and thriving at home. They're not in a public school, getting scolded half the day for wearing their masks incorrectly. These poor kids are falling behind. Most teachers have truly lost sight of what's important for these children. Let them breathe, help them learn, let them be children. You all need to do better. Please take a step back and realize the damage the last 2 years has caused these poor kids. Most of the other districts, not only on Cape but statewide, have lifted their mandates and are letting the parents choose. With a virus so deadly you have to wear a mask in school but nowhere else, restaurants, rock night, hockey, basketball, vacations, the list goes on. As my husband says, common sense is not that common anymore. Please let the parents choose what's best for our children. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. I would like to invite, I'm not going to do well with this one. Bashi? Basha. Coddington?
That's correct.
50%, right?
You got it. Hello, everyone. I'm actually not prepared at all today, but
Bashi, can you just full name and address?
I am a mother of 2 children in elementary school, Chatham Elementary School. I live in Chatham. I think you have my address over there.
Can you just state it for the public meeting?
Oh, it's 67 Deepwater Lane.
Thank you.
I'm here to support the decision of lifting mask mandate. On the 28th, I did extensive research about masks, and they do much more harm than good. We had 2 years to do the homework. If someone didn't do the homework, I'm sorry, you are too ignorant to learn the truth. It's enough, it's enough. The decision should be to us, for us, to parents, to put the kids on mask or not. But you know what? I guess even like if someone didn't do the research about how much harm the mask do to our kids, I'm sorry, you are too ignorant to learn the truth. I am here to say, please stop that nonsense. This is child abuse. Thank you for your attention.
I would like to welcome Bob Brackett up to the podium.
Good evening, how you doing? My name is Bob Brackett. I'm a father of a junior here and a recent graduate, 183 Sisson Road in Howard. And I want to thank the board for everything that you do for our school community. Our kids have given up so much over the last 2 years. They've given up graduation, they've given up proms, they've given up school trips, concerts, theater productions, and their high school years are very short. I want you all to think back of your high school career and what you remember from your high school years. And I guarantee you the things that you remember from your high school years are the things that these kids have missed out on. Yeah. You also remember when you think back of adults in your life who had positive engagement with you and were able to positively influence you. The wearing of masks has severely impacted the personal engagement that these kids need. There are students that have been in this school for 2 years that have not seen a teacher smile. There are kids that have been in the school 2 years that nobody has seen them smile. How is this conducive to a positive engagement with our youth? Okay. What is ignored in COVID discussions is the socio and emotional impact on our youth. This lack of engagement and the canceling of these activities has had a significant impact on the mental health of our young kids. Depression, drug use, suicidal acts, and tendencies are all on a significant increase. Ironically, I just left a forum at Brooks Library on just that topic. I run, for those of you who don't know, of course everybody does, I run the Howard Police Soccer Program here in town. We had been unable to run for 18 months. We recently started back up, and thank you. And what was shocking to me is the amount of parents that reached out to me either by text or phone call expressing how happy they were to have this activity back because of how much their kids have been struggling the past 2 years. It was shocking to me because a lot of these were all what I considered well-adjusted kids there. You can't have a discussion about the health and safety of our children while not also considering their mental health. The harsh reality is that this school district has had more devastation from the mental health aspects of COVID restrictions than they have from kids getting sick from COVID. I ask that the school committee adopt the recommendations from DESE effective February 28th. I don't see that it is necessary to extend it any further than that, as we have already had, the school already has protocols in place to address COVID and testing and we have trusted those processes up until now. There's no reason to ignore that, and I would just like to ask that we adopt those guidelines effective February 28th. Thank you.
All right, we're going to still keep going in person. Miss Mia Zimmerman, please come to the podium.
Hello, my name is Mia Zimmerman. I am in 5th grade at Monomoy. I am here tonight to ask you to please vote yes on making masks optional in our district as of February 28th. Many other Cape schools have already voted yes. Many teachers and other kids don't know what our faces look like because we have been following the rules for almost 2 whole years. We have missed out on many things such as friendly smiles, encouraging faces, time with friends, sports, music, and many other social activities that are important for kids as we grow up. Many Monomoy students have had COVID, been exposed to COVID, or have chosen to get vaccinated. Therefore, the risk is much less, and the reward for happy children is much greater. It is time to move on and learn how to live with COVID. Wear a mask if you would like, and let us be kids again.
Just keep going. Thank you, Mia. Moving on to Melanie Holland.
Good evening. My name is Melanie Holland, 235 Division Street, Dennisport. I'm a school choice parent here at Monomoy High School. I'm here today to fully encourage and support the ending of face mask requirements and all COVID-19 related protocols and restrictions. The negative impacts the forced masking has had on our children's mental and physical health and well-being is beyond obvious. The harms have far outweighed any benefits, and now is the time to give them back what has been so unfairly and unnecessarily taken from them. The children must breathe unrestricted and see each other's faces again now. I'm nervous. They have endured enough. Restore parents and individual rights to decide any medical interventions or decisions related to ourselves or our children. Thank you kindly for your time and support.
Okay, still seeing none in the Zoom room. We'll keep moving on to the in-person community members. Shane O'Neill.
Awful speaker. My name is Shane O'Neill. I live at Nicholson Farm Way in South Yarmouth. I have a 7-year-old daughter in Chatham Elementary and a 12-year-old daughter that was in Monomoy Middle School until we recently pulled her a couple weeks ago. I don't pretend to know what's best for any of these people's kids, and I'm not going to start. I just know that what's best for their kids is up to them, and it should always be the case. Lifting the mask mandate on the 28th is ridiculous in a sense. It should be effective immediately. We've done everything for 2 years. Why prolong it now? But I implore that you lift it the 28th and don't proceed a day further. Thank you.
I would like to invite Erica Bradley up to the podium.
Erica Bradley, 73 Smith Street, Harwich. I'm here to speak on behalf of my 2 children. I have an 8-year-old daughter in the Monomoy school system and a 2-year-old daughter in a local preschool. I would like to start by saying that I truly have the utmost respect and appreciation for our teachers. Through this entire period of uncertainty, they have set the tone for our children along with us parents. I firmly believe that every person should have the right to choose what is best for their own personal being and their children's. So far, there is no good, respected study that shows meaningful benefits for masks the way they are being used by kids. They are not wearing the right masks, and no one wears them all day. They take their masks off to eat their snacks inside their classrooms, in which no one is socially distanced by 6 feet anymore. By the way, the scientists found at the very beginning of all of this that people would need to be 10 feet apart in order to avoid spread by droplet shed, but they quickly realized that people would not be willing and able to adhere to this large amount of space. So they came up with the arbitrary number of 6 feet, which is not even being adhered to anywhere anymore. We have taken a wait-and-see approach to this entire pandemic, and at this point, we have waited and seen enough. The CDC recommends the N95 masks for everyone, and even they have admitted that the cloth and other types of masks are not very effective at all. Everyone has been masked all this time, and yet we've all had COVID. My kids had it, I've had it, our family and friends have had it. So if you're going to decide to keep our children masked, then please be prepared to show us the science supporting this decision. We are covering our kids' faces and hindering their ability to learn. Their masks get wet and gross and are a magnet for numerous germs other than COVID. The long-term mental ramifications of this are not good. We are making our kids feel like walking vectors of disease when in fact they are the lowest risk population for this virus. The kids are not all right. They are coming home completely exhausted from the shallow breathing inside of the masks all day. Morale in the classroom is low. School is not fun anymore. They are lacking social, emotional connections. They are lacking smiles. Milestones are being missed for toddlers. Opportunities for early intervention for speech and language are delayed because of these masks. It is actually a joke to see the 2- and 3-year-olds trying to wear a mask at preschool. These little kids are not capable of keeping masks on their face for any extended period of time. They all have their noses exposed with the mask just barely hanging onto their mouth or chin. We all realize these masks are just for show. Clearly, this is not preventing any spread of anything. It's making them touch their faces more than usual because of the constant adjusting of the face coverings. They are missing out on facial cues from their teachers, which help them to establish basic notions of right and wrong at this tender, formidable age. DESE and the EEC have both dropped their mandates. Plymouth, Falmouth, Sandwich, Barnstable, and DY have all lifted their mandates for their districts. The Harwich and Chatham Board of Health lifted their indoor mandates as well. So we can all basically go anywhere maskless at this point besides the schools, where the kids spend 7+ hours a day. Please let us parents choose what is best for our own children. They are unique individual beings, each with their own emotional needs and medical histories, none of which are being taken into consideration when sweeping mandates are cast broadly over large demographics of minors whose every medical/bodily choice has always been made by their own parents, the ones who understand their children's specific needs. Thank you.
I would like to invite Jennifer Lundgren. I'm sorry.
You're killing it.
I know.
Hello, my name is Jennifer Lundgren. I live at 15 Captain's Landing. I am here beyond my daughter that goes to Chatham Elementary School, who is 9 and is tired of wearing these masks. Sometimes she comes on the way to school forgetting her mask, and she's afraid that she's gonna get in trouble by one of the teachers. I told her, don't worry, you can always ask for a mask, but these masks seriously need to go. They are causing mental health and suicide. So February 28th, the mask should come off. Thanks.
Thank you. I would like to invite Melissa Wynn. Not doing well with names.
Sorry. Wait, that's okay. I was scribbling fast. So Melissa Wynn, 21 Liberty Trail, Harwich. I have twins in 7th grade and a 6th grader at the middle school. I'm a physical therapist, so I have a practice located in Harwich in a chiropractor's office, and I've been working in the health and wellness field for 35 years. I'm here tonight to recommend that we support the DESE guidelines of removing the mask mandate on 2/28/22. Kind of agreeing with everyone who's just been up here, but just to piggyback on Bobby, what is that one question they always ask you when you're doing your security questions, and it's always your favorite teacher? And when he said that about the smiling teacher, that's what I remembered. I always have my favorite teacher, 1st grade, Mrs. Hasty, and it was because of her smile. And it just, some kids are not going to have that answer in the last 2 years. They're not going to have that. It is a big impact. We do know that the cloth masks, these kids, my son wears, I give him a clean mask and he'll pull that dirty one out the next day to wear it again because it's cooler than the other one. So they're not wearing them right. They're not working. We had the surge. The surge was here. They had the masks on. It didn't do anything. We know that. My hope is that most people had it. Most people have some natural immunity. We're getting a little herd immunity. We might get a surge. We might not after this. I don't think so. It's a different kind of vacation than all the hugging and kissing and families we're seeing. I think we should take the chance and just go with the recommendations. Town of Harwich, Town of Chatham both agree. They're lifting the mandate that's lifted at the town buildings. And again, what Bobby said, I was going to say there was the open forum on suicide right at Brooks Free Library that took place tonight. It's real. This is happening here. There's real implications, and we need to really listen and be there for our kids. And I think, like you said, it's time to just stop. It's time to move forward. We can't go backwards. Let's move forward. Thank you.
She may have left. I think she was here to represent MREA. I think that Cindy spoke on behalf of.
Okay. And excuse me. May I invite Talia Aroni?
Hi. Hi. I'm happy to be here. Thank you for the time. My name is Talia Aroni. I live 9 Silver Street. I have 2 children at Hvac Elementary School, and I have a former Monomoy graduate. I wasn't going to speak. I didn't write anything, but I've been inspired by everybody speaking tonight. That's what community means. I have faith in the school. We've really worked hard. I've told my children for the past 2 years to just keep doing the thing. Yeah, like be a good person. We're just going to get through this. And they're tired. I promised them I would speak tonight for them. They're 7 and 10, and it's sad that a 7 and 10-year-old asked me to make a difference. And I said, I don't know if it will. You know, I feel like the decisions have kind of silently been made, but I will for them. You know, they feel disempowered. And those aren't their words because they don't know that language, but in their own terms, that's what I've gathered, is that they feel disempowered and they feel afraid and they don't know why. So my job is to empower them. That's my job. They'll learn. If this does not go through on the 28th, I'm keeping them home until it goes through as a statement. To make an example, really, to show them how freedom works and how empowerment works and how family works and how community works. And I know that I'll be supported on some way or another. But I really hope that the right decision is made. I really hope it is, because it's time. So thank you. And also super inspired by soccer coach over there. Thank you for your share. You lifted me up. And thank you. Be well. Thanks.
One last Zoom call, because that's it.
So, is there anyone in the Zoom room that would like to speak at all? All right. Oh, do we have one?
Yep, Jessica Gomes.
Jessica Gomes. If you turn your video and unmute. Could you just state your full name and address? Sorry.
Okay, my name is Jessica Gomes, and I'm at 314 Oak Street in Hvac. And I have 2 boys. One's 15 and the other is 11. And, you know, I'm absolutely in favor of making it the family's decision to lift the masks. You know, I think the best point made is that, you know, the school districts have followed DESE's guidelines to a T. And, you know, that was the decision that they made. I wish that they would continue down that path. You know, they've, you know, guided the schools this far. There's, you know, no real need to like change that narrative now. Our personal situation is my 5th graders got ADHD, and we actually left the school system halfway through the year to go to a different school that provides more mask breaks and more leniency of like outdoor lessons and such. I was finding, you know, multiple times a day, I was getting emails from the teachers of, you know, having to put the mask up, put the mask up, put the mask up. There was literally no learning really happening during the day, you know, for us. My 15-year-old, when he gets off the bus, he's literally panting, physically panting for 5 or 10 minutes until he starts deep breathing. And that's our personal opinion. And I have lots of loved ones that are on the other side and, you know, may have health situations at home and choose to continue to mask. And I absolutely appreciate that. Like, no one's going to do more research and make sure they're making the safest, healthiest decisions than a mother is going to make in research for their own child. Like, please let us choose what's healthiest for us and our kids and let them move forward. And it's not going to be quick. When the masks come off, these kids are still dealing with their parents' opinions and bringing that into school. It's not going to be an easy road regardless. You know, the kids are talking to their friends, what their parents are saying to them. Like, nothing's going to be easy. I really, really beg that you let the parents make the decisions, the masks come off, and let the dust settle, and like, let's learn at school again. Like, let's be healthy with our peers, with our education. Like, let's learn again and be happy and have like a positive experience. So that's my piece. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you, everyone that took the time to come here and speak at public comment. This is a huge crowd for us. So although I know this is a very pressing issue that we all want to talk about, we'd love to see more of a crowd at our other meetings too, because there are important things that we talk about at every meeting. So you're welcome anytime. But at this time, I will close public comment and we will move on with our agenda items. So we will move into reports and discussion, and our first item under reports and discussion is the 2022-2023 school choice participation. Dr. Carpenter?
So this is just a quick one. So every year the school district needs to make a decision at the school committee table on whether or not to continue to be part of the school choice program. Any children that have been that we've accepted as part of the school choice program, we keep with us, or can keep with us, through senior year. So, but there needs to be a vote each year to affirm the decision to continue in the school choice program, to continue to accept students, and it's something we have done before I got here, when we were both separate, Harwich and Chatham, and we've continued to do, and I highly recommend that the school committee support that moving forward. We will go further in the next few weeks, talk about where we see available seats. So it's not saying, the vote that the committee makes isn't saying what grade levels. It's just we're going to be part of this, and gets reported to the state, and the state puts it on the website and just sort of announces which districts accept school choice students.
Any discussion, questions?
Madam Chair, I move that we continue to accept school choice during the 2022-2023 school year.
Second.
And a roll call vote. Ms. Stout? Mr. Russell?
Yes, to unmute.
You gotta unmute, Terry. Is he frozen? Terry, can you unmute?
Tell him again.
Terry, you gotta come off mute. Technical support is in the room.
Anne Marie.
Hi, Anne Marie.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Russell?
Okay, that's an aye by me and my wife too.
Thank you. Mr. Rogers?
Aye.
Ms. Tolley?
Aye.
Ms. Games?
Aye.
Ms. Scott?
Aye.
Ms. Seabrat-Long?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. That is unanimous. All right, moving on to our HVAC repair update. Welcome, Mr. Travers.
Good evening, everyone. So I'm here to I'll make this quick. During that last snowstorm, we had the blizzard. We had an issue, unfortunately, with a frozen coil, but I don't think it's anything unusual when I looked at other districts and what they suffered with this weather and the power outages that we experienced. And that being said, I'll keep it short. We had a coil freeze up because the freeze-stat didn't do what it was designed to do. Maybe it was faulty. We won't know that until we replace the coil and then we can test it. So that happened in the trainer's room in the gymnasium. So the good thing was the custodians were here cleaning up the snow to try to be ready for school on Monday. And of course, we all know that was quite a storm. So they caught it. They caught some water coming through the ceiling. We do have remote access, but without power and Wi-Fi, it was kind of tough to monitor that. So the folks were here. They caught it. We had Servpro come in and do what they did that day within hours. So we didn't suffer any major damage, but once again, we were here. That water obviously could have run for hours, and it didn't. So that was the blessing. So right now, Michael's procuring, our business manager, is procuring the cost to get it all back and repaired, and we'll hope by the end of the month we'll have it put back together. The superintendent has suggested that maybe we go with cell phones for the remote part of it, and we will, but everyone has remote on their laptop, and of course, without the power, and like I said before, Wi-Fi, it was a little more difficult. But that wouldn't have been an issue with this because the free stat didn't show that it failed. So it's just one of those things that we're just fortunate to catch early. So I'll stay on it, and we'll get it repaired, but once again, it didn't devastate any of the learning process here in the district. So if anyone has any questions, I'm glad to answer them. Please.
Terry, you need a mute. But Rick, I just had a question. Which school was that in? I'm sorry.
That was here at the high school.
That was the high school.
Yes.
So it was a big job. Okay.
Yeah, it was an air handler. We have 3 air handlers for the gymnasium, and it was one of them.
Okay.
And as you know, we had free stats installed a couple years back, and this definitely was a test, but systems malfunction. It happens.
So did we have to put claim in for that?
To get it fixed? Yeah. Oh, yes. It's monopolized a lot of time now just because, of course, production's slow with the coils, and this is a major deal. We have to bring in a crane to lower into the air handler unit. So it's quite extensive, but once again, we'll get it done.
Thank you for all your efforts.
You're welcome. And it's worthy noting that in some of the other buildings, unfortunately, these power outages are my nightmare as far as being a facilities director because, you know, it's just on and off. It fluctuates. We're so, and many systems are so far advanced that it really wreaks havoc with them because they don't have time to fully shut down before the power kicks back on. It really wreaks havoc. So it is a nightmare. A lot of other issues were caught in the buildings before they became problems. You know what I mean? Frozen coils. Once again, without power, we do have generators, but not everything will function properly because of the power outages, whether it be dampers opening, closing, whatever it may be. So I look forward to the spring.
No. I just want to take the opportunity to thank you and the custodial team. You always do such a great job, especially after a snowstorm. So thank you, because I haven't had a chance to see you since the storm, so
Right.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. We'll do our best, and we love Monomoy. We all do, and that's part of the prerequisite to work with us, and I mean that. We do, and we'll do the best we can going forward. Know that we will, and you can count on that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? All right, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're getting a round of applause tonight.
I don't know.
Well deserved.
Yes.
All right, moving on to regional agreement / budget and warrant articles. Dr. Carpenter?
Sure, so.
Okay.
So we met this past week with the town of Harwich and gave our budget presentation there. So we've made our rounds through the 2 towns. I think we seemed like a very favorable reception with where the budget is at in Harwich. I also shared with both of the towns warrant articles, or at least draft warrant articles. So when we were going through our first round on regional agreement conversations with the towns, it was requested that we have Merrick O'Connell, the district's law firm, go and draft warrant articles. So in your packet, there are sort of draft warrant articles that have the numbers dropped in with the current budget numbers that we presented as in this round of the budget presentations. So these are currently, the warrant articles are currently being being reviewed by town council, both in Harwich and in Chatham, along with the regional agreement language changes. Michael McMillan and I will be sharing the latest iteration of those regional agreement changes tomorrow with the towns. So we had received feedback from DESE since the last iteration, and I think it would be safe to say that it was just very minor things. It would be just we phrased a word one way. They wanted it phrased a different way. Whether it was, I think we would say budget. They would want to have a different term for that. So it's just simple little things. But we'll bring that back to the table at our next school committee meeting. Just all and talk about the minute changes. And then we'll have to hear from DESE again and from the two towns and their town council on that, that agreement and whether there's some language changes that are required. But it's moving along, and we'll keep it moving.
Thank you.
Any questions, discussion? Ms. Stout?
Yes, since the budget's brought up, I have a question about that. Each meeting, can you hear me?
I can hear you, but your question has to be related to the warrants that we're discussing. Is it related to the warrants?
I'm not entirely sure. Is the budget, so what I'm hearing possibly is the budget closed because it's already gone to the warrant, is that correct?
That is not correct. It's just in our packet was the draft of the warrants that will be eventually, when they're out of draft form, they'll go to town meeting. So we're just seeing a draft form of the warrants.
And there's simply color-coded placeholders for dollars. So so the dollars that have been dropped into this that are color-coded match up with the budget presentation that we gave to the school committee in both towns.
Right, and it's preliminary. Yes, we haven't voted.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so clarify for me, please, whether it's now or another time, because each time I've mentioned about the new position that I'm advocating for a Mass Certified Licensed Psychotherapist to be a position at the high school, a new position.
Sharon,
and that position.
Yep, that would be a different time.
When is the appropriate time for that?
When we have the Dr. Carpenter?
Yeah, sure. And I also think that if I think the conversation would be best the next time we discuss ESSER monies, and we can put that on the next agenda, because the position that you're talking about, if we were going to add it, we would be adding that and using the ESSER monies. For those who are here or watching online, the ESSER monies are these emergency relief monies that school districts got for COVID. So we have them to use through 25. So that's the funding that we would use. It would be actually a position that would be outside of the budget but covered in grant.
So that will be on the budget, the agenda for next time, is that what I'm hearing?
We can add it to the budget.
Yes, we will add it to the next time that we have the budget.
Yes,
And yes.
Thank you so much.
No problem. Any other? Okay, all right. So moving on to our discussion of policy file EBCFA, face coverings, in light of the DESE mask mandate expiring February 28th, 2022. So I think in order to make this the most efficient way to discuss this, I think that we'll start in the Zoom room and have each of the committee members share their thoughts around that. Is that okay? All right. So, Mr. Russell, would you like to start and share your thoughts around DESE's new mask mandate expiration?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thanks, because I've had a little difficulty with the audio, so hopefully. I too like to thank all the mothers and dads and that fifth grade young lady coming before us. Not only guts, but courage, and also clear as a bell. Here are my thoughts, and targeting the February 28th date. We've lived this with these parents for 2.5 years, and by and large, I thought Dr. Carpenter and his leadership team, especially the nurses, did a terrific job maintaining, following up on testing, and also making certain that the potential spikes were kept at a minimum, far better than many, many schools on the Cape. They're monitoring it weekly. We know there may or may not be spikes. However, our numbers are down, and for the sake of some level of harmony and cooperation amongst all the parents, I would suggest we go with the February 28th date with masks optional.
Okay.
Is that it?
Thank you for the applause.
All right, Ms. Rogers?
Hi, I wanted to thank everybody for writing to us and for showing up virtually and in person. I understand that there's a need to have an end date to the mask since numbers are going in the right direction. I do agree with the nurses in the school that it might be a good idea to wait a couple of weeks after vacation, because I know a lot of families are traveling. My family got caught up in the spike after the last vacation. So I think it would just set us on the right foot for success and to be able to just maintain the mask-free environment if we just waited 2 more weeks.
So public comment is over. This is the committee's discussion. Ms. Stout?
Well, yes, first I have to apologize to anyone who I didn't get back to, and quite a few people wrote to us. Unfortunately, I dropped my phone on my cement garage floor and it smashed, and every email that I had at that time was gone. So we rarely get emails, and I really appreciate everyone that who wrote to us and people who spoke tonight, many of which were the same. I think that all of us, I think it's important to think what we have in common. And I think the commonality for our community, Chatham and Harwich, is that we're all fatigued. I don't know of anyone who's not fatigued with COVID and the implications, one of which is masks. I really appreciate hearing about people talking about their own perceptions in their own children. What wasn't said tonight is we have a number of children and staff who do have major, whether it's long COVID, severe asthma, or any number of other issues. And we didn't hear from any of those people. But I know they're there. The nurses know they're there. In general, I don't know, I shouldn't say all in agreement because everyone hasn't spoken, but I just would like the 2 weeks to see about the spike that we have 100% of the time when we've had a vacation had. So that's pretty much a given. And then just to get some adaptations, because it's not merely for every single child, a matter of the people who want to wear masks, wear it. There are some people that will need an additional accommodation possibly of having to be nearer a an air purifier, or near a window, or further away from other kids. I don't know what those are, but if we could each imagine how lucky we are that we don't have a child or a parent who's a teacher or something that is really affected by this. And I'm only suggesting that we wait 2 weeks to give all of this time to die down, send this back to our policy committee, and get it voted on in 2 weeks. That's all. Or 2 weeks, 2 weeks after vacation, I'm sorry.
Ms. Tolley. Ms. Stout, can you mute? Thank you.
I echo gratitude for everyone who wrote and spoke tonight. It's really important to me that we are hearing from parents, because what happens in the school directly, we are all in this together. And I really see both sides to wanting to wait the 2 weeks to see if there's a spike and do what we can to mitigate any spread in the school. And I also understand that when we were masked, we did have that huge spike, and so many people in our community have already had COVID. And I'm very kind of curious about what are the rates of people who in our school system who have had it already, that we could kind of think of that as minimizing our risk for how many new cases would be brought into the school. I also want masks to be over. I very much empathize with the person who spoke tonight about having young children. Personally, I have an 18-month-old and a 4-year-old who are in daycare, and they're around masked care providers all the time. So I understand the concern about language development and social cues and facial features and developing in that way. And I also feel concerned about our youngest population, because under 5-year-olds are still not eligible to get vaccinated. And so that isn't something that I heard brought up, how families who may have younger kiddos at home that still feel like they have a significant risk for it to be brought home to younger children. So I think maybe one parent wrote in about that comment. And I also think it's important to acknowledge that both towns have lifted their mask mandates, and it does feel pretty hypocritical this is a town-owned building, and for the town of Chatham to have lifted their mask mandate, and for Harwich to have lifted their mask mandate, and to know that there are so many places in the community where our children are gathering and being around each other. It does feel pretty hypocritical. So I think that, to me, I really, I don't know where I'm landing in this moment, actually, because it feels like I want to be cautious. I want to look out for people who are vulnerable, but everybody's vulnerable. Every child is vulnerable for different reasons. And so if we're just focusing on COVID vulnerability, I worry about the impact that that's having on the mental health vulnerability of everybody, and our kids as well. I do recognize that I think the nurses and the amount of leadership and work that they have done to navigate this is, I respect their leadership and where they are coming in with this as well. And their opinion to wait the 2 weeks after the vacation to see what cases in the spike might look like. But I don't know. Now I feel like I'm just talking in circles, because that's how my brain feels these days about the last 2 years, quite honestly.
All right, Ms. Gaines?
So I know exactly where I'm landing. And I'll just start by saying I got a phone call from my daughter, who graduated in the class of 2020, who didn't really have, she had a graduation, but I wasn't there. I couldn't go. I mean, so she was a Monomoy graduate. So she called me 2 days ago. She's at college. She has COVID for the second time, fully vaxxed, boosted. And she said, Mom, I'm so over this. And I'm over it too. So I'm very clearly in support of lifting the mandate on the 28th. And I just want to say that even though my daughter and my son, who graduated in 2017, so I've had 2 Monomoy graduates, even though she's not here, she still has friends in the class of 2022, the class of 2023, the 24, and she stays in touch with these kids. And so I feel like even though she's not here, I still hear what they're thinking and feeling. So I am in strong support of lifting the mandate as of the 28th.
Thank you. Ms. Scott?
I also am very clear on where I'd like to see things go. I appreciate everybody's emails. I appreciate the public comment regarding the face coverings. If I didn't get back to you, I apologize. I had a hectic week myself. But I also want to say that a couple people said at public comment just regarding people have made up their decisions and we don't think of the kids first. And I encourage everybody to watch more meetings because I think we do think of the kids first. That's something that I have kids, Tina has kids, Danielle has kids, Jackie has kids, Meredith has kids, Sharon has grandkids, Terry has grandkids, and Jess has kids. We all are kid-centered. So just I needed to say that. I also really do appreciate the nurses' input and the MREA's input and their recommendations. I also really appreciate hearing about the 2 towns' boards of health and what they have decided. And I agree that if the 2 towns are not requiring masks in their buildings and the schools are in the towns, they shouldn't be requiring masks in the buildings either. I feel very strongly in that we need to lift the mandate as of, I was going to say January 28th, February 28th as well.
Ms. Seabrat-Long?
Hi, everybody. Thank you for coming. I think I echo a few people here and there and everywhere in the room tonight and in my community when I say it's been a long 2 years, or longer than that, actually. I remember the night we were sitting here in a meeting and Dr. Carpenter's phone was just blowing up and with what schools were doing and what schools were doing. And I remember leaving, and I don't know if it was snowing that night, but I remember leaving and I went to Stop and Shop. And I bought so many groceries because I was like, I don't know what's going to happen. The world is ending as we know it. And I bought so many groceries because I'm like, we're going to be in lockdown for 2 weeks. And here we are 2 years later. So perspective, right? I thank everyone for their emails. And I will say that I made a conscious choice because we got so many emails, and which is fantastic. Know that we read them all. We process them all, whatever they are about, because that's what our job is. But I didn't feel that I had the capacity to reply to one or the other, so I didn't reply to any so that I could address you here tonight in person and to the public there, because I just didn't think I could do it. I couldn't reply to everybody, but I read them all and I thank you all for them. They're filled with compassion and concern, some with data, some that, don't care about the data, whatever it is and however you feel, it's your opinion, and that's great. It's such a great spirit for everyone. So I too, I'm pretty sure where I'm going with this, but I too look at the data, I look at the evidence. There is evidence and there is data in what we have done successfully as a district, specifically. And it's been working for however best anyone could ever predict it was going to work. Much like following the research of masks. Who's ever really put research into masks for this capacity? Nobody. Maybe they will now. So I think that as a district, we've handled this really well. I too have 2 kids at home, one at the middle school, one at the high school. One started in the elementary and one in the middle. We started at home remote. It's been a very long struggle for everyone. You guys are not alone. For perspective, I've lived it all with you. And I don't make any decision lightly. Imagine being the child of a school committee member. It's not really a great place to be. Mom, why can't we do this? Mom, why can't we do that? Mom, why aren't you doing this? Well, honey, there's things you do. There's rules. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I don't agree. This is just the way the world works. So I would very clearly say I'm in favor of following and rescinding our policy effective February 28th while following the guidelines set forth.
All right. So I've thought a lot about this. I did attempt to email back everybody that emailed me and some of the collective emails that we got. So I hope I did get to everybody. I really appreciate hearing from the community. I think that we are just your extended voices, and it's really important. And again, I'll say it again, I know this is a hot topic, but even for some of our little topics, it's always a big topic for our committee. So we just love to hear your voice. So I appreciate all those emails. I appreciate all these people here. I appreciate all the people that are up on the Zoom room. I am an educator myself, and so I have seen it from both sides. As an educator, I see the struggles logistically for kids keeping the masks on their face. The masks are too big, they're too small, the elastic rips, things like that. I'm in an elementary school, if you couldn't have guessed. But I see the struggles that teachers are having with masks. And then as a mother of 2 Monomoy students, I see the struggles that they are going through. Although, you know, they're moving through the day and they're moving through the years. It's been a long 2 years. I went back and forth with thinking about, you know, extending it the 2 weeks beyond vacation. And one of the things that I do believe that our district has done well is put in place our pool testing and our at-home testing. And I think that, you know, with the continuation of that, and our amazing nursing staff, we will keep our thumb on that, and I am in favor of lifting the mask policy as of February 28th.
Just a quick, can we invite you all back to clap every week? Because this is
great.
This is great.
Empowering. Ms. Seabrow-Long?
I'd like to move to make a motion if we can.
Before we do that, can I just, because ma'am, I just wanted to thank, because I really didn't say this in my comments, I just want to thank the teachers, everybody that's been on the front line. I mean, when I think about it, and I actually wrote the date down, March 13th, 2020 was the last day that our kids were maskless. I mean, that was my daughter's high school graduation year, so here at Monomoy. So I have the date like programmed in my head, but I just wanted to thank the teachers, the custodians, I mean, everybody in the buildings, the nurses. This has been a long 2 years, and I just want to thank all the work that everybody's done. So I didn't say that in my comments, and I just wanted to say it.
Ms. Seabrow-Long?
I hope I don't mess it up. All right, so I've been writing and writing and writing. I move that the school committee rescind its face coverings policy EDCFA effective February 28th, 2022 until such time that it is needed to be reinstated per state and federal guidelines, making the wearing of masks optional for both staff and students, with the exceptions, student and staff returning from the current CDC recommended 5-day quarantine following a positive COVID test must follow strict mask use other than when eating, drinking, or outside, and conduct after monitoring for symptoms through day 10 of exposure. Masks will be required in all school health offices, and until rescinded by the federal government public health order, all students and staff will continue to be required to wear a mask on school buses.
Second. Any discussion? Ms. Tolley?
One thing that I wanted to point out is someone in the Zoom room mentioned, there's, and you acknowledge this too, this is such a hot button issue, and masks have become a political symbol, and I really want, this notion has been brought up a couple of times tonight about moving forward, right? And this is what community is all about, and we're all in this together. And I really want to encourage all of the parents in our district to encourage all of their children to really, really be accepting of anybody's choice to wear a mask or to not wear a mask. I think that's really important because there will be folks who, for their own health, it is the best choice for them. And I just really want us to rise to that level as a district and as a culture and as communities in this together to just really, truly be accepting of anybody's choice around wearing a mask. And so we can say mask optional, we could say mask encouraged, whatever it is we want to say, but I hope that there's real attention given in each building to the behaviors that are being enacted when students come back and are unmasked, and that we're paying attention to that as a committee as well, and that there's a trickle down and a kind of a permeation of the culture of, like, honestly, acceptance and like tolerance of each other moving forward no matter what our personal choices is. I think we can all agree that this is an exhausting time to be alive right now. And there's, any way you look at it, so many topics are polarized, and our kids don't need that. They don't need that. And so I just want us to have that kind of intention as a district that, that we will uphold kind of that acceptance and that appreciation for whatever somebody chooses to do, whether or not they wear a mask or not.
Absolutely. Ms. Everett-Long?
I can't help but point out, but there is a huge smile behind you, Danielle. She might be missing teeth, I'm not sure, but it's probably the best thing I've seen all night. So I just needed to share the smile back there because that's exactly the goal at this point. So good smiling back there, keep it up. And the green streak, that's amazing.
So we have a motion on the table. It has been seconded. Any other discussion?
I feel like I'm blind.
All right, so then I need a roll call vote for the motion on the table. Mr. Russell?
Aye.
Ms. Rogers?
Abstain.
Ms. Stout?
Abstain.
Ms. Tolley?
Aye.
Ms. Games?
Aye.
Ms. Scott?
Aye.
Ms. Everett-Long?
Aye.
And I am an aye, and that passes.
Yep.
I love having an audience, but we are going to continue on with our agenda.
Please stay.
We know not everything's this exciting.
I know. All right, so moving on, just a quick report out from the executive session. We are just continuing our negotiations with a non-union personnel, which we will continue next week. Next meeting, we're going to have an executive session to continue that.
Good night.
Moving on to our subcommittee representatives and liaison reports. We have a strategic planning subcommittee update. Ms. Tolley, is that you?
Yes.
Okay.
We are still in the process of identifying the scope of work as it as we're pursuing identifying the right facilitator to lead us through this process, we had a conversation earlier this week with one potential representative from a company, and our plan is to have several conversations and understand the, kind of have something to compare it to, the cost that somebody, one facility, oh my gosh, sorry, my brain.
She's still so excited.
Oh, we're going to have several conversations with potential facilitators and then narrow it down and then bring it before the committee to have a deeper conversation about it and kind of present some options and recommendations.
Sounds great.
Okay.
Excellent. Okay. Moving on to the superintendent's report. Oh, sorry. Ms. Stout, do you have something to add for the strategic planning subcommittee update? Oh?
I just lowered her hand, but she moved.
Oh.
She gone. I don't know where she is.
Is she over on the right? Sharon.
I had my hand was up to say something before all the people left, but it's too late now.
You can, there's plenty of people still on Zoom. You can, there's a few people here.
Really?
Well, basically, it was mostly to reinforce what Danielle was saying, is that we really are unanimous on this. There's a slight change in a couple of us who abstained for a minor thing, but the major thing is to bring home to the kids and share how pleased we are that we're getting better with COVID and that we're going to be very respectful for each other and any kids that need or choose to wear masks, or teachers for that matter. That's all.
Thank you. Okay, on to the superintendent's report.
I have no recognitions this evening, but let me just announce that the graduation date, the school calendar, we had set in the school calendar, and graduation initially was going to be on a Sunday. Graduation is going to be Saturday, June 4th at 6 p.m. And I think the Saturday, the Saturday, I think, gives families, I think, more opportunity to have out-of-town guests get here and potentially get home. So hopefully it will make for even a larger graduation ceremony. It'll be nice that, once again, families can be there.
Yeah, it's going to be sunny.
Yeah, and just to tag. To tag team on a comment that Tina had made, where she talked about, March 13th, 2020 was the last time that her daughter, my son, had been maskless, and I have been sharing with with our staff, that I got this email or a text from my son February 4th, and he was just so excited because he was like, the U.S. Air Force Academy where he is, he's like, we're going maskless as of Monday. And you could, and he was just so excited that he, he has been, since, going through basic training. I have pictures of my son, trudging through the mud, masks, and it's, for him it was this chance to finally be mask free. But what I shared with our staff is that it was really a sign that a major change is about to happen, and I've kind of looked. It's been kind of helpful in many ways to be a superintendent, having a son in a situation like that, because there's no better sort of petri dish for a virus to kind of spread than a situation where you have 4,000 cadets living in 2 dorms, 2,000 a dorm, and all 4,000 of them eating together in one cafeteria. And, and if they're a place that they feel that they can get mask-free, that it was a sign that, that things are coming. And we started to see our rates, start to drop off. And, so last week we were at 15 new COVID cases between students and staff for the district, including 3 in that 15 of staff. And I was really starting to look at this past week as been we were starting to hit manageable. We weren't having so many students out or so many staff out that things were manageable, because there was a period of time there in the first 2-3 weeks of January, where instructional assistants were getting pulled out to go be in classrooms, and there just wasn't enough subs to go around, and students weren't getting what they needed because we didn't have the staff to cover all of the absences. We had over 30 staff out at a given time, but now we were down to 3. 3 started to hit the manageable, and then this past week, we report out to DESE every Wednesday. So yesterday, the report out to DESE was we were down to 11, including 2 staff. And 2 of our schools we have no cases at, including the middle school. The middle school has been sort of the hotbed. And if you looked at the survey that we sent out, it was the middle school parents and the middle school staff that were sort of most resistant to the concept of unmasking because of how it has impacted. We've just had so many cases at that level, and to see the middle school finally, for the first time, I think through this, be at 0 was just such a good sign. So there are just reservations I have, and I've shared with the committee that that we do see, even before COVID, we see colds and illness going up following a vacation. I am worried that things could become unmanageable following the vacation. I'm a little worried, we're going to be putting a big push out on the testing, but in order to do the at-home testing, it means we have to give up test and stay, and so there's this trade-off that the state is having there. So we had 41% of our families had signed up to do pool testing, and so we have just started to get families chiming in, but we have half the people have signed up to do the testing. So it's we're at the moment trying to build the numbers of those that are going to test, and ideally need it to get it over what the pool testing had been, but we're a long way from getting there. So we've got a lot of work. We have the system is set up, and I'll give Joy and Holly Thing a lot of credit for working in the background on this, but we're able to kind of log who signed up, and if you haven't signed up, we can send a targeted email out to those who haven't signed up or haven't responded, so that those who have signed up aren't constantly getting their inboxes inundated with this. But the more families that we can get signed up, I think the safer we can have that umbrella, for all, to hopefully keep the mask-free environment going.
Great.
That's it.
I'm asking for discussion, but I do see Sharon's hand. Ms. Stout?
Yes, I just have a couple questions on that spot. So when, so is it Mondays the kids get tested in school?
Yes.
And that's only ones that the parent signed up for them, right?
Correct.
And now, suppose a kid is found to be, the family reports they have COVID, then are the other kids that are close contacts all tested at school, or just the ones that have family permission?
No. So there's not close contact. There's not a contact tracing that goes on.
Oh, there's not. Okay. So we won't really know what's going on after that.
Oh.
Right. So we really rely on families to go share with us what if students are ill, or if family members are ill. Our nurses will go, and if we have, I think that what the state is trying to shift towards is symptomatic testing. So so if a child or a staff member were to come into the nurse's office and and have COVID symptoms, that the nurses would reach out to the parent and say, would you like us to, rapid test your child? And if so, they'll rapid test the child and be able to go and quickly let the parent know what the results are.
Okay, thank you. That's very helpful. I appreciate it.
Any other questions, comments? Okay. Moving right along, we just have one action item that the presentation of warrants has happened this evening. So I am looking for a motion.
So moved. Second.
Mark, could I interrupt? Are you at work? I may give you a buzz. I may want to go to Fontaine.
We needed that.
Yes, there you go. She's muted.
Okay, so I need
Make a motion to
a
adjourn.
roll call vote for adjournment. Ms. Rogers?
Sorry.
Hey.
I moved it without a movement.
Ms. Stout?
Aye.
Mr. Russell?
You can call in if it's adjourned.
Yeah, Terry?
Mr. Russell? It's okay.
Can you unmute him?
Oh, Terry, you need to unmute. He might not know how.
No, he's not.
Or maybe come to him last.
Oh, good job.
Thank you. Sorry, I had to share with my family business.
That's okay.
Is there a vote? I was tied up for a moment, Meredith.
Yes, motion to adjourn.
Oh, most surely.
Okay.
I vote aye.
Great. Miss Tolley?
Aye.
Miss Gaines?
Aye.
Miss Scott?
Aye.
Miss Seabrat Long?
Aye.
And I am an aye, and we adjourn at 8:25.